Hello there.
Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee. It's truly a blessing to have you watching here today. If you're a daily coffee drinker, welcome back. But if you're new to the channel, I would like to encourage you to subscribe. We have a great community of fans here at Star Wars Coffee. They're always very supportive of one another and of my efforts, and that is something that I truly appreciate, telling me to put my health before content. And I really do appreciate that, and I do my best to respond to the comments. So if that sounds like something you'd like to have, is me responding to your ideas or your thoughts on a video, this is the place for you. But with that being said, let's get into today's video. Mark ended up coming around to Luke's story arc in The Last Jedi over time, just as I would presume a lot of people who weren't so thrilled with it at first will too. From my own experience, the first time I saw The Last Jedi, I admit I was a little let down. All of the previews and trailers made this film look absolutely fantastic, and I thought it would exceed The Force Awakens, which I hold in high regards. I thought was amazing and is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. But unfortunately, I was a little let down my first time viewing the film. And the second time I liked it a little more, and I saw it a third time in theaters as well, and haven't seen it since. But I liked it a lot more that third time, and I really appreciated what Ryan was trying to do with it. So I hope that that film continues to grow on me and all of you. I will admit that I was a little sour that the fact that they killed Luke really let me down, and that was the main issue I had with the film. But I understand now what Ryan was doing with the character, and if he shows back up in 9, I think I will be fine with it. Just as long as Disney and Lucasfilm knows what's good for them and brings him back in some form or fashion for 9. Luke's exile was something that was a great mystery in The Force Awakens, when we got that cliffhanger, and we learned more about it in The Last Jedi, but a lot of us were surprised for some reason when we found out it was because he had failed at something. I was guilty of this, as I just had assumed before we learned that Luke was going to be different than he was in the original trilogy, who was going to be ready to assist and save the Resistance without hesitation, just as he had saved Han and Leia in The Empire Strikes Back. But that's not what happened. Luke ended up being a bitter hermit who wasn't willing to even hear Rey out at first as to why she was there and found him. It turns out that the reason he fell off the face of the galaxy and went into exile was because of his failure to train Kylo Ren. He had the blame on his shoulders and took the sole responsibility, claiming that Snoke had turned him and that when he looked into his mind he saw darkness. The main point of that is that Luke had failed his student. Another character in the Star Wars universe who had failed his student and went into exile is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan believed he had failed Anakin when he turned to the dark side and became Darth Vader, and yet no one says anything bad about Obi-Wan for going into exile. Obi-Wan was watching over Luke as he grew up to protect him from Darth Vader and the Empire from being discovered. And before Luke had exiled himself, he was trying to restore the Jedi Order and create a new generation of Jedi in order to protect everyone from the First Order, and Ben Solo happened to be a part of that. Like Obi-Wan, who had a personal connection to Luke, Luke had an even deeper personal connection to Ben Solo, being that he was his uncle, and was more involved in his life growing up than Obi-Wan had been in Luke's. This being the case, once Luke believed he had failed Kylo Ren and had turned to the dark side, he went into hiding so that he wouldn't have to face Kylo Ren in a duel and end up killing him. Whether you believe this would happen or not, when Kylo had found him before the events of The Last Jedi, I'm sure Luke would have done what he had to do if he had to best Kylo Ren to save the galaxy and restore peace. I believe he would have especially done this considering he bested his father in a lightsaber duel and still found a way to save him. I believe he would have done the same for Kylo Ren, or at least held him somewhere he couldn't do any harm to anyone if he wasn't willing to change. A common argument I hear to say that Luke wasn't like Obi-Wan or Yoda for that fact, and Obi-Wan and Yoda went into hiding so they wouldn't be hunted down and killed, and Luke went because he was filled with shame. Well, so did Obi-Wan and Yoda. Both of them were also filled with shame. Obi-Wan believed he had failed Anakin, and Yoda had failed defeating Palpatine and saving what was left of the Jedi Order, and put himself into exile. And Luke had failed Ben Solo, and so he also went into exile. Luke would have also have been hunted down, and we know that Kylo Ren was going to kill him because he tried to do it in The Last Jedi. The argument that Kylo wouldn't kill him or wasn't going to kill him was proven invalid when we stuck his lightsaber through Luke to no avail. And if Kylo wasn't able to kill him or would have chosen not to, we know Snoke certainly would have killed him as well. You can still make the argument Luke was going into exile was not in line with his character, but Yoda and Obi-Wan stayed in exile just as long as Luke has, and all of 3 of these Jedi Masters went into exile for the exact same reason, and the fact that they had all experienced failure. That does it for me here in this episode of Star Wars Coffee. Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw and you want some more from Star Wars Coffee, you can go ahead and follow the channel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SW Coffee YouTube. I have some other big things in the pipeline, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you're excited for those things and enjoyed this video. That does it for me here in this one. Once again, it's a blessing to have you support the channel and watch this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. May the Force be with you.